Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we're playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay, and this one is a fun one. This is a community cast sent in by Rightist, who is a tournament player, and against Seremis, who's also a tournament player, so, you know, high stakes, high quality, and, you know what I love more than, I was going to say what I love more than a kitey build. I mean, I don't like kitey builds a lot of the time, because a lot of the time the players use them too coyly. These two players have both gone incredibly kitey, they're both trying to be very sneaky, but they're so aggressive, which I think is a lot of fun. That's when things get really interesting. They're just constantly trying to catch out each other's units in such clever ways. It's a lot of fun. So here you can see Cold One Knights on either side. So interesting, because it's against Lizardmen, so we're going to see a lot of Cold Knights, you know, Cold Ones on Cold One action, which is pretty fun. So that's going to be interesting for sure, but they're really useful. That anti-large and armor piercing is exactly what you need to take out dinosaurs. Also, a ton of mobility here with the Dark Riders. There's 3 Dark Riders repeated crossbows here, so a load of armor piercing, and they can run away. So, pretty handy, again, when fighting dinosaurs. Be quicker than them, and they're less likely to kill you. Also, a load of Corsairs with handbows. There's 3 units here. These guys, again, doesn't say they have armor piercing damage, but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised if we have a quick look. Boom, 3 armor piercing damage. Doesn't seem like much, but they shoot twice. So that's 6. That's 6 per volley. And there are 75 of them. So that's quite a lot. That adds up very fast. Adds up very fast indeed, especially on a big dinosaur that you can't really miss. And some of the non-AP damage will stick too. So they're going to do a lot of damage. These guys are very, very good. And again, they can kind of run away. Not as quick as a dinosaur, but certainly quick enough for support to come in and help. Also, a load of Black Ark Corsairs. These guys are pretty good. They've got a fair amount of armor. They've got a fair amount at 80, so Saurus Warriors do struggle a bit against them. And any sort of peppering, you know, from skirmishers, they can shrug off some of the damage, which is nice. But they do have that anti-infantry bonus, which definitely helps them take on any of the dinosaurs. They can certainly just beat the brakes off skinks easily, which is nice. Also, some dread spears. Good to have those silver shields on the end, so that way these guys don't have to absorb all the damage from skirmishers. So, really nice build. Oh, yeah, centerpiece, right? Got to talk about the centerpiece. Got Malekith on Seraphon, which is always nice to see. So, huge armor piercing. Soul Stealer means that he can get in the thick of it and really just lay the beat down on a load of big dinos and other decent units. And it doesn't matter because he can heal himself up while murdering things with that Soul Stealer. Word of Pain, super useful spell. So if there's anything scary that he wants to fight, he doesn't have to be scared anymore. Aww. So, wonderful, wonderful. Love to see this guy. Also, Chillwind is very handy for slowing things down, and it can get a bit of damage into low armor targets, so it's pretty handy. So, very useful indeed. Oh, also Power of Darkness to siphon some more magic out of things. And actually, seems like a... I don't know if people really talk about this, but when you've got a build like this, with a load of things like Dark Riders, brilliant to bring Power of Darkness, because you can keep using it on them, because they don't necessarily need any of their health, because they're ranged units. Right? So it doesn't matter. If they're in combat, if they're in melee, that's a bad thing. You don't want them in melee. So just don't get them in melee, and you can just seep away all their health for, you know, your own gain. It doesn't really matter. They'll still perform just as well. You know, they're not going to lose any models just from, you know, skimming a bit of health off the top. It'll be fine. So, Seremis here. Chameleon Skinks. Skink Skirmishers, Chameleon Skinks. 2 Cold One Spear Riders. Some Skink Cohorts. More Skinks over there. A Skink Chief. A Skink Priest of Heavens, just with Windblast, nothing else. Windblast, deadly though. It is deadly. Overcast that, and it'll shred armor. It's great. Also, Skink Skirmishers, Chameleons, and Skink Skirmishers. 2 more Cold One Spear Riders, more Skinks, some Feral Cold Ones, and Krokgar. So, yeah, I think this little force of Cold One Knights, they've got some stiff competition. Definitely. And Krokgar and Malekith, I mean, they're really evenly matched. So, pretty scary. You know, if the spells are on cooldown for Malekith, he's going to get wrecked. But of course, he can't fly, so he doesn't necessarily need to be on the ground when he doesn't have his spells available. So it's a weird one. It's a weird one. So, he's trying to get some good damage on these guys. You can see the Skink Chief is charging in. But this is a bit of an odd one. Because, I mean, the Corsairs are outnumbered a bit here. But they got armor to shrug off more of the damage. But then there is poison as well, which is kind of a nuisance. So it's all a bit of a mess. But you can see here, the Lizards are trying to run this way, and the Cold One Spear Riders can catch out a lot of this stuff pretty well. You know, they can certainly catch out the Corsairs with handbows. But this is scary. This is a scary amount of armor piercing coming in. So Seremis needs to get a move on with the rest of these units. He really needs to start moving stuff up. There we go. Now he is. So load of damage. on these Cold One Spear Riders already. But Dark Rise repeater crossbows, they really suck at fighting skirmishers. I mean, chameleon skinks and things, they just have such little amount of armor that they just get picked off really easily by something like skink skirmishers. Here, brilliant charge on the hand bows, and here, the Dark Riders are actually charging into melee, which I'm not entirely sure why. I think maybe he was just trying to trigger Rampage a bit quicker so that he'd be stuck fighting the Cold One Knights. I think he was hoping he'd get these guys out quicker. Because here, ooh, that wind blast. Ooh, that was tricky. So there you go. Gaze of Malice does a lot of damage. I think he was hoping he'd get the cav out of there quicker. Because that was a bit brutal. That was a bit brutal. More Cold One Spear Rise in here, and on Krotkar, that is very painful. But word of pain on Krotkar. That's going to make it very difficult for him to get some good hits in. Only 19 melee attack right now. He does still have the anti-large, but still, 19 melee attack is pretty pathetic. So Malekith's having a good time in here at the moment. Spearmen have got in the mix, along with the other Cold One Knights. They're doing a lot of damage to those Cold One Spear Riders, so that's great. But these Cold One Knights are running away. So a lot of that mobility, there's all the heavy cavalry that you need to plug up the gaps and screen for things like the Dark Riders. It's gone. Half of that is gone. So these guys are pushing the advantage. Cold One Knights making sure they get the charge off, which is definitely worthwhile, and following up with Dread Spears is a good move, because frankly, yeah, he's trying to pull out, but I think they're going to Rampage, honestly. But these Cold One Spear Riders, they're going to charge in, thinking that's a juicy target. They're going to smell blood in the air, then they're going to go for him. And they're going to get stuck fighting Dread Spears, but they're going to get a lot of good value here, especially if some of these guys start to Rampage. But yeah, pulling out the Cold One Knights, I just don't think he's able to pull out cleanly, so he should have stayed in the fight and got more damage in. Instead he's getting stabbed in the back, and it's not very effective. But here we go, there we go, Power Darkness. See, told you. Brilliant, brilliant move. So here, beautifully, he actually charged in with the Dark Riders into the Chameleon Skinks, which normally you'd think, it's a bit risky, but with Malekith following it up, they break really quickly, and they can just get chased off. So over here you can see the Skink Chief has just been getting killed to bits. He's just been stood there, and now Malekith is coming for him. Another Wind Blast. That's like, God, 2/3 of a unit just gone in one spell. That Wind Blast is deadly. But that Skink Chief has been terrified away, so that's good news. That is very good news indeed. But Krotkar is running rampant in his back line. He really is. He needs to move up these Dread Spears to start soaking up some of this damage, so he doesn't have to be afraid. I don't know why I'm going with the idea of Malekith just being really scared of things. I just think it's quite funny. It makes him a lot cuter, don't you find? Anyway, charge in with the Dread Spears. So, beautiful, he's done that. A load of these Skink Skirmishers pushed forward a bit too much. I think he can afford to push these guys a little bit further. It might get a bit of a flank going on here, but it keeps pushing these guys away. It gives space to some of these units. Some armor-piercing missiles being fired into Krotkar, and there's that murderous prowess. So that's pretty handy. So Malekith's in here trying to do some damage. Stand your ground is going to keep these guys in the fight. Another Wind Blast, basically wiping out 2 units. If only he'd move those Dread Spears forward. Ooh, tough. Anyway, Krotkar, Soul Stealer has been placed on him. What I love about Soul Stealer is it's so... Oh, God. Gaze of Malice, take out the Skink Cohort, lovely. So Dread Spears, they're able to win that fight and get back in where they're needed. Brilliant. Yeah, what I love about Soul Stealer is that it sticks to things. It's very similar to spells like Final Transmutation, but if you cast a Final Transmutation, as soon as people leave the circle, they stop taking damage. Soul Stealer sticks to them, as long as they're in there when it's cast. Ooh, that was an own goal. That was a serious own goal. He was trying to get a breath attack into Krotkar. Krotkar moved out of the way, and all of his own units suffered. That is really costly, especially at this stage of the battle. That was a big chunk of his remaining forces. And like I said, Malekith and Krotkar are very evenly matched, but Malekith is the one with a lot less health, and there's a lot more darts left on the board over here. Anyway, over here you can see these Cold One Spear Riders. They keep getting stuck between rampaging, and then the Dark Riders run away, and then they finally cool off, and the Dark Riders turn around, get a volley into them, they rampage again, he has to run away again, which I think is pretty funny. But anyway, that's happening. And yeah, these units just getting polished off pretty horrifically. These Corsairs, they're no match for all of this nonsense. Here, Dread Spears caught a little bit unawares. Nope, they're able to charge in. Good news. And oh, that was so lucky. That was incredibly lucky. Hand of the Gods just misses Malekith there. Just misses. All thanks to Malekith's attack animation. If it was in the air, that would have been it. So there, another Wind Blast. Mostly misses though. I don't think that was an overcast one actually. I don't think he'd get through the armor. It just knocked them over. So Malekith is trying to go for the Skink Priest here, and he even goes for a breath attack, hoping that enough will hit. And actually, quite a lot hit, but still not enough. He's still going. And just like all the archers, Skink Priests, they don't need any health. Not really. They can still be just as effective at almost no health. As long as they're not routing, they're fine. So over here, finally getting rid of these Cold One Riders by the looks of it. The Dark Riders repeater crossbows, they're trying to whittle him down. But all the infantry is kind of lost. I mean, Kroq-Gar's just going from one unit to the next. Malekith's trying to do the exact same thing, but it seems that Kroq-Gar just has way more guys at his disposal, so it's not going to plan. So here the Corsairs trying to stop the Cold One Spear Riders. They've got armor piercing, they've got good weapon strength, so it's not ideal. It's not ideal for them. That anti-infantry obviously isn't going to help the Corsairs in this fight, and with Kroq-Gar charging in there as well, and Swiftness of Itzel, you know, knocking a lot of them down, it's pretty grim. And still, so many skirmishers left. So much damage has been done to them, but they are still going. And amazingly, some of these Cold One Spear Riders, how did they catch out that unit? Oh, that's just Corsairs and Handbows. I thought they caught out a unit of repeater crossbows. Though, he does seem to be down a unit of repeater crossbows right now. So I guess it must have got caught out by something. Anyway, Malekith trying to finish off these Cold One Spear Riders, but he's taking a little bit of damage while he's doing that. And the skirmishers are able to keep shooting at him while he's doing this. So it's not like it's just him versus the Spear Riders. It's him versus the Spear Riders and everything else. And he's getting poisoned too. So he's less effective due to the poison, which is not ideal. And these repeater crossbows, yeah, you can target them and they get wiped out. They get wiped out pretty quickly if all these guys took a shot. Still some Cold One Spear Riders left. These Spearmen, they're going for the Chameleon Skinks. And these Corsairs, despite being a lot more injured than the Skink cohort, they're just so much better in combat that they should win this fight. They should win that fight. They are really good at killing Skinks. You know, Skinks don't have the armor, so that anti-infantry and all the weapon damage is going to register, and they have a lot of armor, and Skinks have no armor piercing. So it's in favour of the Blackheart Corsairs for sure. But it is looking a bit iffy, isn't it? Huh. Anyway, everything is just following the Dark Riders repeater crossbows, and you can see that Rightist was trying to get what units he could back together, because this is where he has to make a stand. These units are all the slowest, so this is where he has to do it. You know, the Dark Riders, they can move around and catch up with this stuff, but unfortunately those Corsairs couldn't. Seremis was very clever to make sure that he intercepted that unit and got rid of it before it could rejoin the rest of his allies, and that Skink Priest is still alive. God damn it. Look at that. See, told you. Corsairs won. Love it. Anyway, so, here you can see Malekith is injured. The infantry, I mean, if these guys just surrounded any of these units, they'd just shoot them to pieces and wipe out the lot. That wouldn't be ideal. And oh no. Oh no. Really, really wants that Skink Priest dead. But, unfortunately, yeah, took too much flack trying to do it. So, trying to intercept, and that Skink Priest is still alive. He could easily rally. And nothing can afford to chase him. Nothing can afford to chase him, because these guys can get some shots in. And you don't want that. So Kroq-Gar, chasing things away. And you see Malekith, less health than Kroq-Gar right now. And with all this support, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for them at all. You know, in a straight fight, not good. In a straight fight, this is going to lose. But it's not a straight fight. It's not. No. Dark magic is afoot. So that's pretty great. Also, Dark Riders did survive. There's still 21. They have 2 shots. So that's pretty good. 42 shots. I mean, 42 crossbow bolts. That could do well. That could do some damage. You know, that could really hurt Kroq-Gar. That could really do it. So here, you can see he's chased off the Corsairs. And amazing, the music has actually changed because of this lull. It saw that nothing was happening anymore, so it's gone back into the, ooh, the enemy is approaching, mysterious music, rather than the, you're in the middle of a battle music, which you don't often get. You don't often notice that change quite so starkly as in this one. So Kroq-Gar making sure those Corsairs are never coming back. He's quick enough to catch up to his friends. So that's good. So anyway, this stuff's starting to move up. I mean, he's got as much of his army as he can right now. There's some units in the back, and so you could pick them off. But, I mean, you're going to have to fight this eventually, so you may as well fight it with as much health as possible. Because even if they do almost no damage, they might do some. And these guys are already wavering, so if you are able to take this on, they're just going to shatter. So just leave them. Just forget about it. Don't bother with them, right? Just get in here. This is the battle that needs to be won, and these guys are never going to make it to that battle in time. So, load of stuff already wavering here. A lot of stuff, very low leadership and very damaged. So that's a good thing, alright? Terror can take hold of a unit if its leadership is low like this. So Malekith does have an advantage there, because his leadership seems to be a lot better on his side of the fence. So that's good. More units, more DPS, but better leadership here. So that's alright. These guys might be able to shrug off the terror. Whether they can shrug off the damage, yet to be seen. So, they're moving up. They're moving up, guys. We're in the final quarter. Oh god, I can't look. Anyway, so they're charging in. Everything's charging in now. So obviously the Corsairs want to get on top of the skink cohorts. The Spearmen just want to get shot at. They just want to get shot at, right? Just as long as they're not shooting at Malekith, that's great. And here's some armor-piercing missiles, actually hitting the skink skirmishers there. And here, looks like he's going to go for that Gaze of Malice, but instead he changes his mind. No, he needs to get this Word of Pain. 19 melee attack once again. And these guys start to terrify. And here's that Gaze of Malice. There's a couple of units that haven't broken yet, but they're going to now. And these Spearmen can push home the advantage. They can create that space for this battle to happen. Dart Riders have run out of ammo now, so they're just running in. Like, anything they can do. If they can do any damage, that's great. And amazing takedown. Amazing takedown there by Seraphon. Beautiful. Fantastic. That's Kroq-Gar out of here. And the Dread Spears, they're able to keep the Chameleon Skinks busy. So Malekith isn't getting shot. Only 800 health left. Wow. It's pretty crazy. Kroq-Gar, he's not broken yet though. He's not broken yet. There's still something on the board somewhere. There we go. There's still 5 Cold One Spear Riders. Breath attack. Doing even more damage. But Word of Pain has run out now. Word of Pain has run out and he does have a bit more health. But he's never getting the first attack because Malekith is in the air. Right, that's the thing. A flyer will always get the first hit in. They always get the first hit. But look at this. Look at this. Kroq-Gar. No, he's gone. Yeah, he's had enough. He's shattered. Everyone's shattered. I'm not surprised. It was a long game. I'd be shattered after this. Amazing. Pyrrhic victory. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. That was too close to call at too many points in that battle. Just, my word. Everything was stretched so thin. Both armies, just, the pressure was everywhere. Just these constant little fights. And the fact that just Kroq-Gar and Malekith just kept zipping from one engagement to another, just try and swing it, just to free up some more units. So it wouldn't just be this horrible... Ugh. I can words, I just choose not to sometimes. But amazing, amazing fight. This is really cool to see. Really unconventional army as well, I feel. Maybe not that unconventional, I guess. I mean, Dart Rise repeated crossbows, they're pretty classic, right? They're a bit of a classic. But, you know, very little in the way of shields, but maybe he just wasn't expecting this. You know, maybe he wasn't expecting so many skirmishers. But this is a very light army, supported by very stocky units, which I think is a really cool thing to see. So all of these things could have been torn apart in melee, but they are all amazing bait. They are all excellent bait. And amazingly, Feral Cold Ones got 61 kills. How did the Feral Cold Ones get joint most kills there? That is very impressive and very unlikely. Very proud of them. If they'd stayed alive, they would have made great mounts. So that's a pity. But anyway, this is amazing. I love this. This is a great fight. You know, Cold One versus Cold One, Malekith versus Kroq-Gar, and just a whole lot of nonsense. It was pretty great. So very kitey, but very aggressive. Obviously, it still took a while because people had to take stock. Sometimes you've just got to take stock of your army. If you get the chance, get your guys back to some kind of order so you can actually make concerted effort to fight back rather than just yo-yoing between units like a lunatic. So it happens. But man, beautiful. So Rightist, thank you for sending this in. It was an absolute pleasure. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one, guys.